My name's Trystan Finocchiaro. I race motorbikes for the KTM Junior team. I've been racing for about 10 years now. Last year I was one of 2 Brits out of a grid of 40 riders to ride in the World Supersport 300 class that goes around Europe with the World Superbike paddock. This year I've decided to take a step back for a number of reasons. Towards the end of last year I contacted a certain Jeremy McWilliams to see if there was any possibilities of me doing anything with KTM. And then they decided to take me on to do the British Championships. And our goal is to be as high as we can. I want to propel myself back into World Championship next year, but short term for this year I want to be British Champion. Silverstone marks the beginning of the season for us. After a strong off-season, both training and testing, I've got high expectations for Silverstone for the first round. 2 podiums will be ideal. We just need to finish both races. As usual, at the beginning of the season, you've got all your tedious admin stuff, so collecting your passes, the riders' safety briefing, and scrutineering. Just general bits and bobs like that, and then once we've done that, we're straight to business, straight into free practice. Really happy with first day here. The pre-practice session we got was leading most of the way, P1, and doing pretty consistent lap times, and that's what we were after. We weren't really looking for that 1 lap pace. We were more looking to get those consistent times in. I was going around by myself the whole time, so no slipstreams, which is looking positive, because for tomorrow when we do have slipstreams in qualifying, we can really push to be on the front row. We finished the session in P2. Which I'm dead happy with. Anything top 3 is good. So hopefully, if we can keep chipping away, a few little adjustments to the bike, but nothing major. And then we'll be there on race day. Saturdays when things start to get a little bit more serious. Qualifying is on the Saturday, where we get 25 minutes to go around and basically sort of set the fastest lap we can. That lap will then determine the grid for race 1 on the next day. So that's when things start to matter. Going into qualifying, I like to have a clear head, especially at the first round, because it's the first time for a long time where the nerves are going to start setting in. For me, for one thing I learnt massively last year in World Championship is the importance of slipstream and the importance of getting a tow in qualifying. So that was my main priority, was to get a perfect lap and then get a perfect tow. A strategy I used quite well, I think, was to stay on the back of 2 riders who are pretty competent, sort of top 5 pace, and then just keep to and throwing, take a lap off, to sort of get about a second gap to them, and then use a lap to catch them up, and then use their slipstream towards the end of the lap. And lap times came down every lap doing that. I think I was sat in P1 for one point, and then towards the end I got pipped by Aidan. He pipped me for first, which wasn't the end of the world, because all we wanted in the end was a front row. And P2 actually on the grid was a perfect spot, because we had that inside line into turn 1. Sunday's a completely different day. You can never replicate how it feels on Sunday. I always wake up with a dry mouth, feeling nervy. It is a horrible feeling. But as soon as you get to the track, provided it's sunny and nice, it does calm your nerves a little bit. It puts a little bit more pressure on when you've got all the family. Everyone turns up obviously on race day, and then you've got all the sponsors as well. who are obviously a massive help, but when there's so many people there and so many eyes on you, it does add that extra little bit of pressure. When you line up on the grids, it's the worst feeling of racing. It's literally the only bit that's not enjoyable. But then as soon as those lights go out, and you're on your warm-up lap, it kind of calms you down a little bit. I always try and fall back right to the back of the pack, so I'm sort of the last one lining up on the grid, and I don't let the nerves get to me. But then as soon as the race has started, you're just concentrating, you're just focused. You'll have a strategy subjective to whatever's going on the weekend, and then just crack on from there. Race 1 was more of a sort of managing gap sort of strategy, making sure keep the gap to the people behind, and at the same time keep a relative distance to Davey in front. We were a little bit unlucky that a back marker sort of spread me and Aidan out a little bit, but that's just racing, I'm afraid. Race 2 was a lot more exciting. There was a three-way battle for the lead this time, which was a lot more enjoyable. Towards the end of the race, I pretty much had it sorted. I had it planned to get by him into the final sector. I was sat in second place, but heading onto the straight, Cade in third. Took a bit of a lunge going onto the back straight, and it cost us the drive going down the straight, and neither of us could catch Aidan. Shout out to Davey in all fairness, he put out a really good lap in right at the end. Set the lap record actually on the last lap. But if Cade hadn't made that move, I'm sure we could have been there with him. Overall, the weekend was dead positive. 2 second places, 40 points on the board. It's exactly what we want. What was a great positive to take from the weekend for me was being back on the podium. It's been a while since I've been on there. Needed a little bit of work on the champagne prosecco spraying, but no, it's an awesome feeling to be on there. It's when all the hard work comes together and you can finally feel the benefits of everything you've done throughout the weekend. It's always good to have a result like this at such a circuit that's close to home, because you've got all the family and all the sponsors there. So it's great to have these kinds of results with the sponsors there watching, because at the end of the day that's what they're there for.